welcome back to Teaching Jobs Korea, and today we're here in Southeast Seoul in the district of Jamsil, which is a very nice location. And we're here at a hagwon called Luxx English Academy, and joining us today is teacher Tyler and teacher Ashley, and they're going to give us some information about Luxx English Academy's curriculum, program, and working environment, and also share their experience living and working in Korea. So Tyler and Ashley, thank you for joining us today. You just got done with class, right?
Yeah.
And by the decorations up here, I could tell that we're having Halloween, right?
Yeah, getting ready the events tomorrow.
Yeah, we've been preparing. All the doors are decorated and a lot of the hallways and classrooms, as you see.
Yeah, just thank you for taking the time. I know that it's your break time, so we'll try to wrap this up very quickly. But you know, to share your experience and also get some information about Luxx. I guess just to get to know both of you a little bit on your background. I guess starting off with you, Tyler. I guess where are you from, and I guess how long have you been in Korea?
Yeah, my name is Tyler. I'm from Pennsylvania in the United States, and I've been teaching in Korea for nearly 6 years, and 2 of those have been here at Luxx.
What about you, Ashley?
I'm from South Africa, and I've been teaching English for almost 7 years now in Korea.
Wow.
2 of them have been here.
Throughout the whole time, have you been living in the city of Seoul?
Yeah. Coincidentally, we taught at a different school in Seoul at different times down in Daechi. And then I also worked in Apgujeong, which is in a different part of Seoul. But yeah, I've mostly just moved around different parts of Seoul over my time here.
Okay, lucky you.
I began in Gyeonggi-do in Ansan, but it happened like towards the beginning of COVID. So COVID actually closed our hagwon for health reasons,
Right.
and then I moved up to Seoul.
I guess living in Gyeonggi and then living in Seoul, how is it very different? Or is it pretty similar?
It's very different. A lot more people speak English in Seoul, and I think that you're less of a rarity here. I definitely encountered a few people that were like, "Can we take a photo with you?" because I look
Right.
so different. But yeah.
But there's a lot of foreigners in Seoul too, so I think you meet a lot of different international people, right? I think that's one plus thing about like Korea is that you can meet a very diverse set of like foreigners. Have you had an opportunity to meet different foreigners out in Korea?
Yeah, I think even our staff alone here, we've got people from Australia, America, Canada. I also met with New Zealanders. Is there someone?
South Africa.
South Africa. But I've met people from a lot of countries, and even as students, there's different nationalities that are interested just in the Korean language. So not just in the English teaching atmosphere, there are a lot of different nationalities within Korea.
Yeah, and getting to know like the company, right, Luxx English Academy. It's not a big franchise school, right? It's only this one campus, but it's a very nice campus. It's the whole building, right? 6 floors, a lot of different play areas for the kids, right? I guess could you just give me a basic rundown of what Luxx is about, or the actual campus?
Sure. Luxx itself, I kind of is focused on learning to read and write and speak comfortably in English. They do have some Korean classes in between, kind of to keep them up to speed with their Korean abilities as well. But I think the idea is that by the time they leave Luxx, they're prepared for higher education English, and most of them are quite capable by the time that they leave. You would say almost native in some of their levels.
Well, especially this area of Jamsil too, right? There's really smart students.
Yeah.
And then when I used to teach like kinder level around this area, it's like, man, they speak English. You know, the proficiency of English is just as good as a native.
Oh yeah, for the 7-year-olds that I teach, our big focus is getting them to read and write in a more native way. And throughout their first couple years learning English here, a lot of my students also begin to talk very naturally because we do a lot of reading. They learn about, natural sentence patterns, and at least for the 7-year-old classes, they fully speak in English throughout the day. So they get to build that fluency that is necessary for English learning here in Korea.
What is the general age group of students that would be taught here?
Well, we have one class that's 4-year-olds that starts halfway through the year, and then a handful of 5, 6, and 7-year-old classes, along with after-school classes for some lower-level elementary grades.
So it'd be from like kinder to like maybe 4th graders or 3rd graders?
I'm not sure what our oldest elementary students are.
I think they're like, I know,
2nd grade maybe?
9-year-olds. It's
9-year-olds?
like the age that I remember teaching.
Yeah,
in.
2nd grade.
Yeah.
So lower elementary level,
Yeah.
right? I would say it's primarily focused on the kinder level programs here, right?
Absolutely.
So you have, it's very chaotic with young kids, right? I guess teaching like the young ones, right? I think it takes a different type of teaching. I think every age group that you have, there's a different type of teaching that you have to get acquainted with, right?
Yeah.
I think with like the kinder level kids, I think you have to be very energetic. You have to be very interactive. I guess what type of teacher would match very well with the program and system at Luxx, you think?
I think if you're looking at getting a job here for 4s, 5s, and possibly beginner 6s, you need to be someone that's kind of, like you said, high energy and really, I think, passionate people really work well. I know that's kind of a requisite from most places, but I think that if you're someone that likes to kind of go in and make classes fun and more engaging, especially with the younger kids, you know, you can't really lecture at them or just explain something to them with words. They don't know words yet. So you have to find kind of fun and interactive ways to help them understand the concepts that you're trying to teach them, so that by the time they get to like the later stages of kindy, they're ready to take on the more listening side of things.
And for this higher level 6s and 7-year-olds, I think a lot of it is being able to adapt to the kids' questions, because by that point they really know how to talk and ask questions. So whether it's reading or writing or listening classes, being able to adapt to their questions, being able to adapt to the kids' needs. If a student's a little weaker on writing, knowing how to shore up those weaknesses while also being able to help the rest of the class, along with balancing, you know, the kids getting older and making them confident, I think.
I think just number one, you have to really like kids, like just being around kids and finding balance in chaos, right? And it's like very interactive, but yet it has to be productive at the same time too, right? So
I think if you're going to be a teacher for kids, you need to be enthusiastic. The kids can pick up whenever you are enjoying teaching, so I think the number one thing is you have to enjoy teaching to be a teacher.
And just being patient, and then also I think just understanding the psychology of their behavior, thinking, it also helps with, because at the end of the day, you're applying simple content to their proficiency level, right? So I think just understanding the kids at that age is very important for the teacher, which takes time to kind of like learn too, right?
It is like a sense thing. I think I was very awkward about it when I first started. I didn't really know how to project my voice loud enough, or like it was like with the teacher, like, well, they want to get close to the teacher, so they'd come to hug it, and I was like, am I gonna go to the jail? Like, if I hug you, can I touch you? And it was very awkward in the beginning, but I think the more you do it, you definitely get a sense for what you can and can't get away with your kids. The same way I would probably walk into Mr. Tyler's class now, and his students wouldn't know what to do with me. He has taught my kids before, and I think it's easy, but he would.
It's quite difficult.
I think every day is like a day of like trial and error, right? You just try new things and then revise it, right? I could tell like there's events that you do for the little kids like periodically. Obviously it's Halloween. Sorry, I haven't been in America for a while. I guess what event are you doing for Halloween?
It's a mix of stuff. There's a couple games that are prepared. Both the students and teachers are all going to come in costumes just to kind of show off and get the kids to enjoy themselves. As well, the kids are going to go around to different classrooms, the math classroom, see the principal and get kind of trick-or-treating done just to enjoy themselves, I think is the number one thing.
The event's tomorrow, right? Is it today or tomorrow? It's tomorrow. So they're gonna walk out with like bags of candy.
Then you can see them kind of in the back of my class. There's some little pumpkin bags.
And then obviously both of you have been in Korea for a long time now, and you work different types of Hagwons, I bet, right? I'm sure you worked at big franchise Hagwons too, right? I guess what would be like the difference between working at like those big franchise Hagwons and then also maybe working at Luxx that you kind of saw a difference in?
For me, I worked at a franchise first, and I would definitely say prep time was a huge thing for me. You know, I think a lot of places advertise that they do have a lot of prep time, and maybe that's true, but I think in my first school I had maybe an hour in a whole week to prep, so I found myself working till almost 9 p.m. as a kindy teacher.
Wow.
Trying to keep up with the workload and try and come up with enough stuff for classes. Obviously that also was down to me not really knowing what I was doing yet, but I think coming to Luxx, the first thing I said to our director when I signed was like, are all of these blocks prep? I think I was so shocked because we got at least like 2 to 3 breaks in kindy time as well as lunch, and then the afternoon, which was crazy for me coming from like a Dechi school where it was constantly back to back to back teaching and like hectic, like after school programs. So I was quite happy as the 4-year-old teacher. There was a lot of free time.
Tyler, you worked at you work at an afternoon position, like teaching older kids before, right?
Actually, I've never worked the afternoon ones.
Oh, you just worked the morning?
I am not a morning person, so
Yeah.
actually it's better for me to work in the morning or I wouldn't get anything done in the morning.
Right.
So I prefer to work in the morning, that way I have the afternoon to myself. But at least for working this kind of job in a small school, I think the best part is that if you want to change something or if you have some problem, you can actually talk and get it fixed. Compared to what I hear from some of my friends that work at bigger schools or chain schools, because all of the schools are following the same curriculum, they have to follow it to a T and can't really make changes or adjustments as needed. Whereas Luxx right now is just, our one building where if I have a problem, I can talk to one of the managers and they can see what they can do about changing things.
And speaking of management, I think another important aspect of the position that you'll be working is also like the communication with management, right? And the support that you get as a teacher. I guess how's the support and communication been at Luxx?
I would say for me, like I've gotten along very well with the managers here. I do like to establish like a good relationship with them right from the beginning. So I'm very, I think maybe too honest sometimes, but I do make it known that like, my best work is done when I can rely on my manager. And so I do like to work closely with them. And I think beyond just working life, I've had some personal things happen in my life over the last year where I've required like some more time off or like some more understanding from the school, and they've been so great with accommodating me with that. And even my like co-workers have been so nice and like filling in my classes when needed, or they've really been great with accommodating me and my needs and any time that I've needed.
What about like communication barriers? I know that you've been here for a long time now. Have you gone to kind of learn a little bit of Korean or understand Korean?
He's better.
I've taken Korean classes since I got here. I do private tutoring. I'd say that when it comes to work, of course, you're working with people whose first language is different from yours. So although everyone that I've worked with here has really good English, there can be that language barrier where they might not know exactly how to explain something in English, which is kind of how we come in sometimes as the head teachers is we help to explain what the managers are thinking or wanting to the other teachers, since we can pass it through that mother tongue kind of translation as native English speakers. But I think honestly, outside of work, living here in Seoul, most people know English. One of the nicer parts of living in Seoul is knowing that I don't have to rely on my Korean skills, but also I think there's a lot of opportunities in Seoul to learn and pick up Korean.
I think also for teachers, just kind of understand that the management is generally just Koreans, right? So they're going to be speaking a second language, and a lot of the things that they're going to say it comes out very direct because it's a second language. I think that's just a cultural, I guess, adjustment that you have to make and just be aware of, and I think that will make it a lot more easier to at least understand the situation instead of kind of comparing it to how it should be in the States or in the West and whatnot, right?
With that as well, I think like the hierarchy system within working places is also kind of a new concept for me as a South African. I've never experienced that before, but Luxx is one that practices that, you go through the managers before you speak to the director kind of thing. And I think a lot of people are shocked by that at first, but when you kind of get used to it, you realize it's not like something rude. It's just to kind of smooth out the issues, to be like that only really serious issues get to the people that they need to.
And then also that kind of plays into like the Korean work culture too, right? Because there's layers, like then it makes, if you kind of like just go like side door, then it kind of makes that management or the manager look bad too in Korean culture too. So there's that part of it too to kind of understand. But there is a slight hierarchy in Korea, right?
I think it's not too big of an adjustment to make, but of course living in a second country, you have to be aware of the fact that you are in a different country and you have to be respectful and kind of follow those procedures or customs that are expected of you. I
guess what about working with like you have Korean co-teachers, right? How is it working with like the Korean co-teachers?
I think I get along with my co-teacher. She's lovely. Sometimes it's not always the case. You do get the odd co-teacher that, like there's just no same page, and we had a similar, like I had a kind of, I wouldn't say altercation with my first co in this year, but she doesn't work here anymore. So I think that it happens sometimes where you meet somebody that you don't get along with, but I think that's every job, not just Korean. And I think, you know, if the issue is kind of something that can be resolved, that's nice. But if the person's not good at their job and it kind of causes problems for the class and the parents and the kids, I think that can make things a bit tense between you and your co-teacher.
I think as long as it's, you know, in a workplace, there's no way that you can get along with everyone, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of being able to navigate through it and then just kind of sticking with it, and it kind of passes through.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's the important thing. A lot of teachers too, sometimes, I can't say a lot of teachers, but there are some cases where, you know, teachers maybe stay a few months and then they don't like something about it and they want to leave, right? I think you just have to kind of stick it through, and then it always comes out to something good at the end, I think, right? From my experience. What about like the cultural adjustment in Korea to just, you know, society? I'm pretty sure you're pretty much adjusted being as, you know, here as long as you've been. But I guess, was it pretty hard adjusting to like the cultural differences of like the bowing, greeting, maybe the fast like pace of life?
The fast-paced life thing was an adjustment for sure. And as for the bowing, I think I do that out of habit now. Like it's just kind of become like a knee-jerk response, like, oh, like
Doesn't even cross your mind.
Yeah, you don't
anymore.
even think about it anymore. I think I did it to my dad once and he was like, what are you doing? But I haven't, like, yes, I'm aware that there are cultural differences, but I don't really feel like an outcast in Korea. Like, I'm kind of comfortably alien, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah, I think as long as you're able to like navigate like your commuting route, okay, and you kind of know how to order food, where to go, right? I think then it's pretty easy to kind of get adjusted. What about you? How long did it take you to get adjusted in Korea?
Well, I first moved here right at the start of coronavirus, so I think everyone in the world was going through adjustments at that time. But as far as specifically for me moving to Korea, I didn't have too many issues. I think as long as you go into it with a mind of, I am in another country, and if something seems strange to me, I just need to understand that that's, you know, that can be how people act in a different country. Things like bowing are not super unnatural, so it's pretty quick to keep up.
What about like culture shocks that you kind of experience? Like me, when I first came out to, because I came from the States too, and then when I first came out here, usually in the States, like people with kids, you don't see kids outside after 10 p.m., right? They're all sleeping. And then I went to like the Dongdaemun, you know, the market, it was like 11 p.m. and I saw like people with kids. I'm like, what? Right, that was a culture shock that I kind of had to get over.
I think the way that people use their phones in Korea was a culture shock for me, and one that my mom even pointed out when she arrived was everyone is on their phone all the time and nobody talks on the train. So I was like, yeah, you know, it's kind of an unspoken rule that we just don't speak on the train.
Do you know, like when you go to those busy like areas, you see like all these flyers on the floor? Do you know why they put it on the floor? Because people are looking down, so it's to advertise to people looking down.
That makes more sense.
I didn't know that.
It's just not litter. It doesn't point to that, right? What about like language barriers? Is it pretty easy to get over the language barriers now? Like getting to places, taking a cab somewhere?
I would say that I don't have too many troubles with it, even before I learned Korean. I think that's part of living in Seoul, though. From what I know, Seoul and Busan, there are quite a few people who speak English, and there are relatively few problems with that. It's whenever you go outside of those to kind of smaller cities, or if you live in the countryside, that you're going to find a lot of communication barriers.
Speaking of traveling, have you done some traveling around Korea? Where have you not gone, I guess?
Goje.
Koje?
Yeah.
Koje is nice. You should also go to Koje, and then there's the Tongpyeong, I think the market there, the fish market.
I don't eat fish.
But they have like cafes and it has good, Instagram photos.
I think Goje looks really pretty. I think that'll be like my next plan. It's just really far.
What about like Jeju Island? Have you been to Jeju Island?
I've not been to Jeju. The only I'm not really much of a traveler, but I'm very into Korean baseball, and so most of the traveling I've done are to Daejeon, Daegu, Gwangju,
to watch the games.
To watch different games and visit different stadiums, and then also go to museums in those cities while I'm there. As far as for where I'd like to go, I've heard really good things about like Soraksan, which is up towards Sokcho, because it's really beautiful, and there's a lot of mountains to hike in Seoul, which is really nice. But that's where I'm planning to travel next.
I think that's one good thing about Seoul is that it's definitely city, but you have all these areas where you can go for like hikes. You can go up a mountain. Like it's not really big, right? But the Pugan Mountain is pretty big. You have the Hangang River. I guess where's like your favorite location to go to, like go-to spot in Seoul now? Hangang.
Yeah.
When it's not hot.
Right.
When it's hot under my aircon.
When the weather's nice, I like going hiking in Gwanaksan, which is in kind of Western Seoul. It's got a really nice view and it's not a really intense hike like you said for Bukhansan. Like Ashley said, Hangang is really beautiful and it's easy to get to. So.
Right. And also the commuting is very convenient here too. Like you don't really need a car in Korea. Well, at least living in Seoul. If you live in like the smaller rural areas, you definitely need.
But they also have the bicycles around here that you can use for like nearer places.
Do you use like the rental scooters?
Yeah.
Right.
I've never used them. I love the public transit here, both the buses and trains.
I think as long as you're avoiding like the rush hour time, it gets a little crazy then, but other than that, it's pretty usable. I guess, what about exploring like Korean foods? How have you adjusted to the food here?
I love Korean food.
I'm a picky eater, but I do have my favorites.
What would be your favorite Korean dish?
I quite like the yangnyeom galbi.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite meat dishes, but other than that, I quite like even like tteokbokki or gimbap. Like that type of stuff is good. A fresh bibimbap is always good, and the stews are nice.
Do you know how to make any Korean dishes? I don't know if you cook.
I know how to order them.
Coupon eats.
Yeah.
That's another good thing about Seoul too, is that you can, everything's delivered, like any type of food you can get available, right?
At any hour.
What are some like shocking Korean food that you tried and actually turned out pretty good?
Well, I really like jimdok. It's just kind of chicken that I think is really delicious. But one of the ones that surprised me was jokbal,
Oh, me
which
too.
is, pig's feet, which I thought sounded disgusting because it's feet. But then eventually, around my second year or so, one of my friends finally convinced me to try it, and it kind of blew me away. I really, really enjoyed it. So those kind of like strange foods. That and yukhae was another
Yukhae?
food I thought was going to be terrible.
Yeah, have you tried yukhae, the raw?
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of chewy, right?
Yeah.
You got to go to a place that really makes it good though. If you go to one that's not that great, then it's tasty at all.
But
Yeah.
if you get some nice expensive yukhae, it's phenomenal.
This area of Jamsil too, you have like have you been to the Lotte World?
No, not Lotte World.
Oh, not Lotte
Tower.
World.
You've
Lotte
never
Tower.
No, I've never been.
Have you gone all the way up?
No, I'm scared of heights.
I went to the top when my mom was here because she really wanted to see it.
Yeah, I mean, Seoul, there's definitely a lot of things to do. I guess just living in the city, do you think you can move to another city since now you're living here now?
Maybe in like 10 years, I'll run out of stuff to do. But there's so many things to do that I love living in Seoul.
You lived in Gyeonggi before, right, Ashley? I guess moving from Gyeonggi to Seoul, was that a big, because they say, Gyeonggi is kind of like the outskirts cities of Seoul, right? I guess it depends on what part of Gyeonggi too, right?
Ansan, they call it like the ghetto.
Wait, Ansan, right?
Yeah, Ansan.
Okay.
And I think that all there was a whole thing about it a while ago. But moving to Seoul, it was nice because there was a lot more food options, especially Western food options, as well as stores. I mean, they don't have Sephora anymore, but at that time it was like all the rage. Like I got to Seoul, I got to Sephora, I got to buy my makeup. So it was nice being here because a lot of foreign products and stuff arrive here first before they ever spread out, if they spread out. So I never really miss anything. Well, that's a lie. I miss some things from home, but I don't really need for much.
Yeah, and every teacher that comes out here, I always tell them to go to Daiso to buy their stuff,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, Daiso is a must. I guess on a final note, just your experience of living and working in Korea, I guess what would be like the most important tip that you can give to anyone planning to come out here that they can kind of keep in mind as they come out here?
I would say try and learn the Korean alphabet. I know that sounds like a big task. It's not. I taught myself in like a day. It's possible. There's a lot of free programs online and you just associate it. It makes your life a lot easier because you start to realize that a lot of Korean words are actually English words just in Korean writing. So it makes it a lot easier for you to kind of read menu items or ask for things because you're more aware of what's actually being said around you and it's not like hieroglyphics or something.
I would say being willing to just do things that are available because it's a foreign country. I feel like a lot of what you see on TV for K-pop or different things for Korea is only one fraction of what's available. So I really enjoy, seeing Korean sports, trying, like I said, new food that seemed like something I'd really hate but ended up really enjoying. Korea's got plenty of museums, plenty of people to meet. So just trying new things, I think, is number one.
Well, thank you for taking the time for giving us some feedback about and giving us some information about Luxx, and thank you again.
Thank you.
And please make sure to subscribe and like.